The arena was the largest in the sector, carved from black stone and glowing metal. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, their voices crashing together like a storm. This was a place where legends were made and broken. At the center stood the undefeated alien Gladiator. She was tall, strong, and calm. Scars marked her armor, each one earned in victory. She had never lost a single fight. She lifted her hand, and the crowd slowly fell silent. Her voice was clear and confident. "I have defeated champions from 100 worlds," she said. "No warrior has ever forced me to kneel." She paused, letting her words sink in. Then she spoke again, louder this time. "If anyone here defeats me today, I will marry them." For a heartbeat, the arena was quiet. Then laughter exploded from every level. Warriors mocked the idea. Nobles shook their heads. Even the announcers smiled. Everyone knew this promise was safe. She could not lose. The gates opened. One by one, fighters stepped forward. Massive beasts. Armored killers. Skilled duelists. Each one fell within moments. Some were thrown across the arena. Others collapsed under her speed and strength. The crowd cheered louder with every victory. The promise became a joke, repeated with laughter. Then, when the announcer called for the next challenger, a human walked out. He was smaller than most fighters. He wore simple armor, scratched and old. No symbols. No bright weapons. Just a plain blade at his side. He walked slowly, eyes forward, breathing steady. The laughter returned, louder than before. "Is this a mistake?" someone shouted. "Send him back," another voice cried. "He will die." The alien gladiator looked at the human. At first, she felt nothing but boredom. Humans were known to be weak. Fragile. They did not belong in this arena. She almost waved him away. But the human did not bow. He did not speak. He stopped at the center of the arena and waited. The announcer hesitated, then raised his hand. "The match will begin," he said. The crowd leaned forward, expecting a quick end. The signal sounded. The alien gladiator moved first. Fast. Precise. Her strike was meant to end the fight in one blow. The human should have been crushed. But he moved. Not faster than her. Just enough. The blade missed him by inches. Dust rose from the ground where he had stood. The crowd gasped. It was not impressive. It was not flashy. But it was wrong. Humans did not dodge like that. She attacked again, harder this time. A spinning strike. A move that had ended dozens of fights. The human fell, rolled, and stood again. His shoulder bled, but he did not cry out. He did not rush. He simply adjusted his stance. The crowd began to quiet. The alien gladiator frowned. She felt a strange feeling in her chest. Not fear. Confusion. This was not how the fight should go. She increased her speed, chaining attacks together. The arena floor cracked under her power. The human was struck. He fell. His blade slid from his hand. The crowd roared again, sure it was over. But the human pushed himself up. Slowly. He picked up his blade. His movements were rough now. Pain showed on his face. Yet his eyes were steady. Focused. He did not attack. He waited. The alien gladiator circled him. She could end this whenever she wanted. Still, she hesitated. Something about the human felt different. He was learning. Watching. Adapting. She lunged. The human moved at the last second. Not away. Toward her. His blade struck her armor, leaving a mark. Not deep. But real. The arena went silent. No one had ever touched her like that. She stepped back, shocked. The human also stepped back, breathing hard. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He simply held his ground. For the first time in many years, the alien gladiator felt her heart beat faster. The promise she had spoken echoed in her mind. "If anyone defeats me..." She looked at the human again, truly seeing him now. This fight was not over. And for the first time, she was no longer certain of the ending. The crowd waited, holding its breath, as the impossible began to feel real. The arena lights burned brighter as the fight continued. The alien gladiator stood firm in the center, her chest rising and falling in strong, steady breaths. Across from her, the human struggled to stay upright. Blood ran down his arm and soaked into the sand. Any sensible fighter would have surrendered by now. But the human did not. The referee looked between them, unsure. The crowd had grown restless. Some wanted the fight to end. Others felt something strange pulling them forward, something they could not explain. The alien gladiator moved again, her steps heavy and sure. She struck with power meant to finish the fight. The human blocked too late. The force threw him backward. He hit the ground hard, the sound echoing through the arena. A loud cheer rose from one side of the crowd. They thought it was over. The human lay still. Seconds passed. The alien gladiator lowered her weapon slightly. She had seen this many times before. The body stays still, the spirit broken. Victory always came this way. Then the human's hand clenched into the sand. Slowly, painfully, he rolled onto his side. He coughed, gasping for air. His vision blurred, but he forced himself to focus. The crowd fell silent again as he pushed himself up onto one knee. The alien gladiator felt a flicker of irritation. "Stay down," she said quietly, more command than insult. The human shook his head. He stood. The movement was not strong or fast. It was stubborn. Like gravity itself was pulling him down, and he refused to obey. His legs trembled, but he stayed upright. Something shifted in the arena. The alien gladiator attacked again, harder now. A sharp strike to the side. The human cried out as pain exploded through his ribs. He fell, rolled, and barely avoided another blow meant for his head. The crowd began to murmur. This was no longer entertainment. This was endurance. The human crawled to his knees and reached for his blade. His fingers slipped on the handle, slick with blood. He gritted his teeth and grabbed it anyway. Every breath burned his chest. He did not charge. He waited. The alien gladiator circled him, watching closely. She noticed how his eyes followed her movements. How he adjusted his stance with care. He was learning. Even now. Even like this. She attacked from the side. The human blocked. The impact sent pain shooting through his arm, but he held. He stumbled back, then corrected himself. The blade scraped against her armor, leaving another shallow mark. The crowd gasped. The alien gladiator stepped away, her eyes wide for a brief moment before she hit it. No one was supposed to do that. Not now. Not like this. She felt heat rise in her chest. Anger, sharp and dangerous. She increased her speed, forcing the human to react faster than he should have been able to. Blow after blow rained down. The human was struck again and again. Still, he stayed on his feet. He began to move differently. He stopped trying to block every strike. Sometimes he stepped aside. Sometimes he took the hit on purpose to avoid something worse. It was not pretty. It was not clean. But it worked. The alien gladiator realized it then. He was not trying to win with strength. He was trying to outlast her. That thought unsettled her. She had ended fights quickly all her life. Her power had always been enough. But this human was dragging her into deep water, where strength alone did not decide everything. She launched a heavy attack meant to break his guard. The human slipped inside her reach at the last second. His blade struck her shoulder armor, leaving a deeper cut than before. Pain flared. Real pain. The arena went completely silent. The alien gladiator stepped back, staring at the mark. Her heart beat faster. Not from fear, she told herself. From surprise. The human backed away as well, breathing hard, barely standing. He did not raise his weapon in victory. He did not speak. He simply stayed ready. The promise she had spoken earlier returned to her mind, louder now. If anyone defeats me. She pushed the thought away and tightened her grip. The fight was not over. But for the first time, the alien gladiator understood something clearly. This human was not weak. And this battle was no longer under her control. The alien gladiator steadied herself and forced her breathing to slow. The mark on her armor burned like a warning. It was small, but it mattered. Across from her, the human stood with his blade lowered, shoulders shaking with exhaustion. Blood dripped into the sand beneath his feet. He should have fallen. He should have broken. But he was still there. The arena felt different now. The crowd was no longer laughing. No one shouted insults. Even the announcers had gone quiet. Every eye was locked on the two figures in the center, waiting to see who would fail first. The alien gladiator took a step forward. Then another. She did not rush. She watched the human carefully, noting every weakness. His left arm was slower. His breathing uneven. His balance slightly off. Any other fighter would have been easy prey. Yet she hesitated. Because the human was changing. He shifted his stance again, placing more weight on his back leg. He angled his body, making a smaller target. His eyes stayed on her chest, not her weapon. He had learned her habits. That should not have been possible. She attacked with a fast strike meant to test him. The human blocked barely, then stepped away. His reaction was slow, but correct. He was choosing survival over pride. As they circled, the human's mind stayed focused. Pain screamed through his body, but he pushed it aside. Humans had learned long ago that pain was not an order. It was just information. He remembered harsh training grounds, broken bones, long nights where quitting would have been easier. He had quit before. He would not quit now. The alien gladiator launched a stronger attack. The human was hit and thrown back. He rolled across the sand and slammed into the ground. The crowd flinched as his body struck hard. He lay there gasping. The referee shifted his weight, watching closely. The alien gladiator waited, weapon ready. She expected him to stay down this time. His body had reached its limit. She could see it. Then the human moved. Slowly, he pulled one knee under himself. His hands shook as he pushed against the ground. Every muscle screamed. His vision blurred, but he forced it clear. He stood again. A low sound rippled through the crowd. Not cheering. Not laughter. Something closer to disbelief. The alien gladiator felt her jaw tighten. She had broken warriors larger than this human. Stronger. Faster. Yet this one refused to stay down. She attacked again, frustration creeping into her movements. Her strikes were still powerful, but no longer perfect. The human noticed. He slipped inside one attack and struck her armor again. Another mark. Deeper this time. She hissed and jumped back. Pain pulsed through her shoulder. Real pain. Dangerous pain. The alien gladiator stared at the human, her chest rising fast now. She had never been pushed like this. Not physically. Not mentally. This fight was forcing her to confront something she had avoided her entire life. Limits were not just physical. The human stepped back, giving himself space. He was close to collapse. He knew it. But he also knew something else now. She was tired. Not weak. Not broken. But tired. That was enough. The alien gladiator gathered herself and prepared a heavy strike, one that used her full weight and strength. She needed to end this. The longer it went on, the worse it became. She charged. The human braced himself. He did not try to block fully. He turned his body, letting the blow glance instead of crush. Pain tore through him, but he stayed upright. He stumbled forward, almost falling into her reach. And in that moment he struck. His blade slid past her guard and cut into exposed armor. Blood spilled. Her blood. The arena froze. The alien gladiator staggered back, staring at the wound in disbelief. Her hand trembled as she touched it. She had been wounded before, but never like this. Never by someone everyone had dismissed. She looked up at the human. He was barely standing. His body was wrecked. But his eyes were calm. Determined. Unbroken. For the first time, fear whispered in her mind. Not fear of losing. Fear of what it meant if she did. The crowd felt it too. This was no longer a simple match. This was a turning point. A moment that would be remembered. Two fighters stood facing each other. One had always won. The other refused to accept defeat. And now, with every breath, the balance was shifting. The arena remained silent after the alien gladiator stepped back. Her blood darkened the sand beneath her feet. It was not much, but it was enough. Enough to shake everything she believed about herself. She had been wounded. Across from her, the human struggled to stay upright. His breathing was rough. His vision swam. Every part of his body begged him to stop. Still, he tightened his grip on the blade and lifted it again. The referee did not move. No one dared to interrupt. The alien gladiator straightened her posture and wiped the blood from her armor. Her face was calm, but inside, her thoughts raced. She had faced strong enemies before. She had faced fast ones. She had faced cruel ones. But she had never faced someone like this. Someone who refused to quit. She stepped forward, slower now, more careful. Her eyes stayed on the human's shoulders and hips, reading his movement. She would not waste energy again. She would end this cleanly. The human saw the change. She was serious now. He shifted his stance, placing his weight carefully. He knew he could not survive another heavy hit. His body was close to breaking. But he also knew something else. She was no longer confident. The alien gladiator attacked with precision, not rage. A controlled strike aimed at his legs. The human barely avoided it, stumbling back. Pain flared through him, sharp and blinding. He nearly fell. The crowd gasped. The alien gladiator pressed the attack, forcing him backward step by step. Her movements were smooth, practiced. She was reclaiming control. The human blocked one strike, then another. Each impact sent shock through his arms. His hands went numb. His knees threatened to give out. He fell to one knee. A ripple passed through the crowd. The alien gladiator raised her weapon high. This was it. The end everyone expected. She brought it down. The human rolled at the last second. The weapon slammed into the sand, cracking the stone beneath. Dust exploded into the air. The force knocked the human aside, but he was alive. Barely. He crawled, dragging his body away, gasping for breath. His fingers dug into the sand as he tried to stand again. The alien gladiator turned slowly to face him. Her breathing was heavier now. Sweat mixed with blood beneath her armor. This fight was costing her more than she liked. "Stay down," she said again, her voice firm but strained. The human looked up at her. "No," he said quietly. The single word carried through the arena. He forced himself to his feet, shaking from head to toe. His blade hung low, almost slipping from his grasp. But he stood. The alien gladiator felt something tighten in her chest. Anger. Frustration. And something else she did not want to name. She attacked again, faster than before, unleashing a flurry of strikes meant to overwhelm him. The human retreated, blocking what he could, taking hits when he had no choice. Pain blurred his thoughts, but he stayed focused. One strike knocked his blade from his hand. It skidded across the sand, stopping far away. The crowd sucked in a breath. Unarmed, the human swayed on his feet. This should have been the end. No weapon. No strength left. The alien gladiator stepped closer, weapon ready. But the human did not surrender. Instead, he raised his empty hands and shifted his stance again. Lower. Tighter. Defensive. The alien gladiator hesitated. Why? Why did he still stand? She attacked. The human moved inside her reach, too close for her weapon to strike cleanly. He slammed his shoulder into her chest with what little strength he had left. It was not powerful. But it was unexpected. She stumbled back a step. That single step changed everything. The human used it. He lunged, grabbed his fallen blade, and spun just as she recovered. His movement was slow, clumsy, but perfectly timed. The blade struck her side, deeper than before. The alien gladiator cried out and staggered back, clutching the wound. Pain tore through her body. Real pain. Dangerous pain. The arena froze again. She looked at the human, eyes wide. He stood there, barely alive, blood-soaked and shaking. But still standing. The impossible was no longer approaching. It was happening. And both of them knew it. The alien gladiator staggered back, one hand pressed tightly against her wounded side. Warm blood seeped through her fingers and dripped onto the sand. Pain pulsed through her body in slow, heavy waves. She had been hurt before, but never like this. Never this deep. Never by someone the galaxy had laughed at. Across from her, the human stood frozen in place. His chest rose and fell in short, sharp breaths. His vision blurred, and the arena lights seemed too bright. He could barely feel his hands. His body had gone far past its limits, but his instincts kept him upright. The crowd was silent. Not a single cheer. Not a single insult. They were watching history form. The referee looked between the two fighters, his hand trembling as he raised it halfway. He hesitated. This fight had already broken every expectation. Stopping it now felt wrong, but letting it continue felt dangerous. The alien gladiator straightened slowly. Her pride screamed at her to attack, to finish this, to erase the shame of bleeding in front of the galaxy. She had ended entire careers with less effort than this fight had taken. Yet her legs felt heavy. Her breath came faster than she liked. She looked at the human again, really looked at him. His armor was shattered. Blood covered his face. His blade shook in his grip. He looked moments from collapse. And still, he did not step back. "Why?" she asked again, her voice lower now, stripped of mockery. "Why won't you stop?" The human swallowed, forcing his voice steady. "Because if I stop," he said, "then everything they believe about us stays true." She did not understand at first. Then she did. Humans were weak. Fragile. Temporary. That was what the galaxy believed. This human was standing here not just for himself, but for every human who had ever been dismissed. Something shifted inside her. The alien gladiator tightened her grip on her weapon and took a step forward. Pain flared, but she ignored it. She could still fight. She could still win. She had trained her entire life for moments like this. She attacked. The human reacted on instinct alone. His body moved before his mind could argue. He blocked the strike, but the impact sent shock through his arms. His blade nearly slipped from his fingers. He stumbled back, barely staying upright. The alien gladiator followed, pushing him hard, driving him toward the edge of the arena. Each strike was slower than before, but still powerful. She was burning what little strength she had left. The human's back hit the arena wall. There was nowhere left to retreat. The crowd leaned forward, hearts pounding. The alien gladiator raised her weapon for what she believed would be the final blow. Her arm trembled as she lifted it high. Blood dripped down her side, soaking into the sand. She hesitated. For the first time in her life, she hesitated at the edge of victory. She saw herself in the human's eyes. Not as a monster. Not as an enemy. But as someone being tested. She brought the weapon down. The human did not block. He stepped forward instead. The strike glanced off his shoulder, tearing through armor and flesh. Pain exploded through him, nearly knocking him unconscious. But his movement carried him inside her guard. Too close. He struck with everything he had left. Not a perfect strike. Not a powerful one. Just a desperate, precise movement driven by will alone. The blade sank into her armor. She gasped, shock and pain crashing together. Both fighters froze. The alien gladiator dropped to one knee, her weapon slipping from her grasp. The human fell as well, collapsing to the sand only a few steps away. Neither could move for a long moment. The referee rushed forward, raising his hand high. "Enough!" he shouted. The arena erupted, not in cheers, but in stunned noise. Voices clashed in confusion and disbelief. The alien gladiator looked up at the human, still on one knee. Her chest burned with every breath. Her pride lay shattered around her, but something else remained. Respect. She lowered her head. The human had not won yet. But the fight had already changed the galaxy forever. The referee's voice echoed across the arena as medics rushed forward, but both fighters raised a hand. "Wait," the alien gladiator said, her voice strained but clear. The medics froze. She pushed herself upright, slowly, painfully. Blood stained her armor, and her breathing was uneven, but her eyes were sharp. Across from her, the human tried to move and failed. His body refused to respond. He lay on the sand, staring at the sky, chest rising in shallow breaths. The alien gladiator took a step toward him, then another. Each step hurt. Each step mattered. The crowd watched in complete silence. She stopped beside the human and looked down at him. Up close, he looked fragile. Broken. Nothing like the legends she had fought before. And yet, he had done what no one else ever had. He had brought her to her knees. "You should be dead," she said quietly. There was no anger in her voice now. Only truth. The human turned his head toward her. His vision was blurred, but he could see her shape. He gave a weak smile. "So should I," he said. Something like a short laugh escaped her before she could stop it. It surprised her as much as it surprised the crowd. She looked up and raised her voice so the arena could hear. "He did not fall," she said. "Not when he should have. Not when everyone expected him to." Murmurs spread through the stands. "He fought without fear," she continued. "Without pride. Without hope of victory. He fought because he refused to accept what the galaxy decided he was." The crowd shifted. The meaning of her words settled slowly. The referee stepped forward. "The match must be decided," he said carefully. "By the rules." "I know the rules," she interrupted. She turned back to the human and extended her hand. The human stared at it, confused. "You forced me to the edge," she said. "You wounded me. You endured everything I gave you." Her voice steadied. "By the laws of the arena, that makes you my equal." The arena erupted into noise. "That is impossible. She has never said that before. Is this a trick?" The alien gladiator ignored them all. She kept her hand out. The human hesitated, then reached up and took it. His grip was weak, but it was enough. With effort, she pulled him to a sitting position. The medics rushed in, but she waved them back again. "Wait," she said once more. She turned to the referee. "I made a promise," she said, "before the fight. A public promise." The referee swallowed. He knew what she meant. "If anyone defeats me," she said, her voice carrying through the arena, "I will marry them." The crowd exploded. The human froze. "I did not expect to lose," she said. "But I did expect to honor my word." The referee looked stunned. "By the rules," he said slowly, "a promise spoken in the arena is binding." The human tried to speak, then stopped. He shook his head. "I didn't fight for that," he said. "I fought to stand." She nodded. "And that," she replied, "is why the promise still stands." The arena fell quiet again, but this time it was different. This was not disbelief. This was understanding. The alien gladiator helped the human to his feet. He leaned heavily on her, barely able to stand, but she supported him without hesitation. Together, they faced the crowd. "For generations," she said, "we believed humans were weak. Today, one human proved us wrong." Holoscreens across the galaxy captured every word. Councils watched. Empires listened. Markets stopped. The story spread faster than any battle report ever had. A single human had stood against the strongest gladiator in the arena and refused to fall. The alien gladiator looked down at him once more. "Rest," she said softly. "You have already won something greater than a fight." As the medics finally stepped in, the crowd began to cheer, Not for victory, not for defeat, but for something rare. Respect. The galaxy had just learned a lesson it would never forget. And the final chapter had not yet been written. The arena did not empty after the fight. No one rushed for the exits. No one spoke loudly. It was as if the entire place understood that something greater than a match had just ended. The human and the alien gladiator were taken away by medics, but the silence stayed behind, heavy and thoughtful. Across the galaxy, the moment replayed again and again. Holoscreens showed the humans standing, bloodied but unbroken. They showed the undefeated gladiator kneeling. Commentators struggled to explain what they had seen. Warriors argued. Councils debated. Entire species asked the same question. How? In the medical wing, the human woke slowly. White lights glowed above him. His body felt heavy, wrapped in pain and exhaustion. Every breath reminded him of the fight. He tried to sit up and failed. Don't move, a calm voice said. The alien gladiator stood nearby, her armor removed, her wounds treated. Without her battle gear, she looked different. Still strong, still dangerous, but quieter now. More real. You're safe, she said. You survived. The human let out a weak breath. Barely, he replied. She allowed herself a small smile. That seems to be your way. Time passed quietly as healers worked. When they finally left, the room felt strangely calm. The human stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. I didn't mean to change anything, he said at last. I just didn't want to stay down. She nodded slowly. That is how change usually begins. News continued to spread. Human channels overflowed with pride. Alien networks debated the meaning of the promise, the fight, and what it meant for galactic balance. Some called it a fluke. Others called it the beginning of something dangerous. The alien gladiator sat across from the human. The promise I made, she said carefully, has become more than a personal matter. I know, he said. And I never asked for it. She studied him, searching for ambition, fear, or desire. She found none of those things. Only honesty. You embarrassed the strongest arena in the galaxy, she said. And you did it without trying to. The human shrugged slightly. Humans don't win by being loud, he said. We win by lasting. That phrase traveled far. In the days that followed, representatives arrived. Human leaders. Alien nobles. Council envoys. They wanted explanations. Agreements. Control. But the alien gladiator refused them all. This is not politics, she said. This is proof. She stood beside the human during the official declaration. Cameras floated overhead. The arena floor had been cleaned, but the memory of blood remained. I was not defeated by strength, she told the galaxy. I was defeated by refusal. By endurance. By a species that does not know when to stop standing. She turned to the human. And I will honor my promise. The human spoke then, his voice calm and clear. This is not about ownership, he said. It's about respect. Between equals. The crowd listened. The marriage was no longer seen as a prize. It became a symbol. A bridge. A warning. From that day on, humans were no longer invited into arenas as entertainment. They were invited as equals. As allies. As a people who could not be crushed simply because they looked fragile. The alien gladiator returned to the arena once more, not as a champion alone, but as something new. And the human stood beside her, not as a conqueror, but as proof. The galaxy changed slowly after that. But it did change. Because one human refused to stay down. And one undefeated warrior chose to keep her word. That was humanity's victory. Not loud. Not cruel. But impossible to ignore.